Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, continuing to take a look at the next week's slate, heading down to the SEC as Vanderbilt heads on the road to play Ole Miss, and an Ole Miss team that I think people just are disrespecting a little too much. Now, 12th in the AP poll. That being said, a lot of the talk around Ole Miss is they haven't really played anybody. They haven't looked that impressive. I look at it like we haven't even seen the full potential of this Ole Miss team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And that's not to say they haven't been good on offense, but they're still getting some guys back fully healthy. When they do get those guys back, I really do think this offense can take it up another notch. Really excited to get into this one. Before we do, just want to say thank you to you guys. The support y'all have shown these game breakdowns truly does mean a lot. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. But more importantly, would love to hear from you guys in the comment section. Picks, predictions, keys to the game. Best part about doing this, talking ball with you guys. Without further ado, let's get into this one. And Vanderbilt, I want to talk about Ole Miss's offense and what I would like to see a little bit more from them. But Vanderbilt on defense, this is a spot where Ole Miss can really just take advantage of all the talent that they have on offense. This is a Vanderbilt team that's allowing 37 points per game, 126th in the FBS, 6.3 yards per play. That's 121st. When you look at this matchup, it does seem like Ole Miss just more talented on offense than Vanderbilt is on the defensive side of the ball. Now, looking at this Ole Miss team in the narrative that this team doesn't look like a top 15 team in the country, I mean, they beat LSU, an LSU team that I think is a top 15 team in and of itself in the country. They go on the road and beat Auburn, where I get the score doesn't necessarily reflect how dominant that game was. You take a look and watch the film back. I mean, Ole Miss, 425 yards to Auburn's 275. A lot of that was in garbage time. 21 first downs for Ole Miss to only 10 for Auburn. And that's an Auburn team that at home gave Georgia a run for their money. So, like, Ole Miss, I think if you're a box score watcher, if you like to go out and have some drinks with your friends on Saturday and just catch the box scores, maybe you have that conception that this Ole Miss team isn't great. I am so high in this Ole Miss team. One, they're playing great defense. We'll get into that. But this offense, right? 35 points per game. That's 19th in the country. 6.3 yards per play. That's 20th in the country. It's been really good. I think it can be better, right? Jackson, you're starting to see, the run game pick up, right? When you started off this season, I remember going back and watching that Tulane game and being really concerned about Ole Miss just not moving bodies up front, not being able to establish a run against Tulane where you'd expect them to. I mean, Tulane's good, top 25 team, but you'd expect Ole Miss to get that run game going. That being said, you watch back the film on the last couple of games, like this offensive line playing much, much better than it was earlier in the season. The run game, not only Quinshon Judkins, but Ulysses Bentley. I mean, that is one of, if not the best running back duo in the SEC. This run game's getting going. And then through the air, and Jackson Dart's been solid. I don't think he's necessarily reached his potential yet. You might be asking for a little bit more if you're expecting an SEC title type offense for sure. But I think it's really going to help when you get all these playmakers at the pass catcher position fully healthy at the same time. Right in the beginning of the year, obviously, Zachary Franklin was dealing with the knee scope. Trey Harris was clearly not 100%. They were relying a lot on Jordan Watkins and Dayton Wade, who stepped up in big ways. But now that you got Trey Harris and Zachary Franklin seemingly getting back to 100%, then you get Jordan Watkins banged up. When you have Trey Harris, Zachary Franklin, Jordan Watkins, Dayton Wade, and Caden Prescore, and I'll throw him to the mix, all healthy at the same time, that is one of the better pass catcher rooms I think you see in the entire country. And I'm still waiting. Trey Harris, like, he's been awesome. When Zachary Franklin kind of gets it together with the health standpoint and gets a little bit more confidence and familiarity with this offense, I mean, Trey Harris and Zachary Franklin, I think, could be a really electric wide receiver duo. And then you have guys like Dayton Wade and Jordan Watkins who are working that middle of the field, those short intermediate routes, better than anyone in the country. I look at this offense starting to run the football much better, getting their playmakers back healthy, Jackson Dart continuing to improve. This offense, although it's a top 20 offense in the country, I think it can be even better once they get some of these guys back healthy. Now, flipping sides of the ball, this Vanderbilt offense hasn't been horrible this year. They went to the veteran Ken Seals. He's been very good. They have three really good wide receivers. Will Shepard, a real playmaker, Landon Humphreys, Jaden McGowan. They have some playmakers, But this Ole Miss defense, and part of the reason why I'm so high on this Ole Miss team is not just because I think this offense can take that next step and be a top 10 offense. This defense, this is an SEC defense. And like the last couple of years, it's been, hey, we got to outscore the opponents and just do our best to get some stops on defense. You bring in Golden. I mean, this defense, for one, I think they've done a phenomenal job hitting on guys in the transfer portal. And I think as Lane Kiffin continues to use the portal, I think the evaluations are going to get better. Because sometimes it is hard to be like, yeah, I'm gonna look at this guy coming from the MAC and see, can he play SEC football? I think Lane Kiffin's hit rate, getting guys in the portal, has been a lot better this year. You take a look at some of the guys who are stepping up. They are from the transfer portal. So I'm optimistic about that. But this year, I mean, this defense has been extremely good, especially up front. I mean, this is an Ole Miss team that you're not necessarily used to saying really physical in that front seven of their defense. This is a team that's allowing 3.4 yards per rush. That's top 30 in the country. They got hammers on the inside. J.J. Pegues, Stone, Jared Ivey. I mean, the list could go on and on. Suntarine Perkins, I think, is playing really, really good football. They're getting really good linebacker play as well. It's a good recipe they have. And what their recipe is, we're going to stop the run. We're going to win on first and second down. And what I think Pete Golden has had a massive impact on this defense is, okay, we're going to stop the run. And then when it gets into those third and long situations, not only do you have guys who can get after the quarterback, right? Cedric Johnson, Isaac Okwoku, Suntarine Perkins, again, a freshman that I think continues to get better as the season goes on. But you're seeing Pete Golden really dial up the blitz as well. I mean, he is one of the better defensive coordinators in the country and kind of throwing offenses off with the different looks that they give, being confused on who's coming, who's dropping back in coverage. And you're seeing them be really successful on those third and long situations. And then you look at the back end. Why can they be so aggressive sending blitzes? They hit on those guys in the secondary, right? I think you're looking at really just long cornerbacks who get their hands on a lot of footballs and turn the ball over as well. I mean, I think a guy like John Sanders, Anthony Prince, they've all been extremely good in the back end. You look at this Ole Miss defense from the defensive line to the linebacker play. Jeremiah Jean-Baptiste probably deserves a shout out to the secondary. It's a complete defense that is playing like a top 40 defense in the country. And it's hard to have those kind of numbers when you play opposite of an Ole Miss offense that runs so fast. This is the best Ole Miss defense we've seen under Lane Kiffin, and an offense that is still, I think, has another gear in it. And that's, I mean, they're playing like a top 20 offense as of right now, but I still think they have another gear to access. Now, getting to the pick here, the line's been bouncing around. Ole Miss at home, Vanderbilt 24.5-point dogs. The line's big, right? And I would take Ole Miss because I think that this could be the game where it all comes together on offense. This is a Vanderbilt defense that struggled stopping the run. It struggled stopping the pass. It's just struggled in general on defense. And this is an Ole Miss team that I think is knocking at that door of reaching their full potential on the offense. And I think it'd be absolutely massive if they can do that against – you've seen it, right? Against LSU, that was as complete as you would want. But I want to see that more consistently. I think the defense can smother this Vanderbilt offense. Give me Ole Miss in the points. But more importantly, I'm looking for this Ole Miss offense to kind of have that breakout performance. And again, not to say they've been bad this season, but I think they can be great this season. And I want to see it against a Vanderbilt defense that's really struggling. I want to see Zachary Franklin get a little bit more involved. Trey Harris do his thing. Man, this is a team. And I would like to see Ulysses Bentley. So this is a weird conversation I was having with my brother the other day. Quishon Junkins is a dog. Man, Ulysses Bentley, with the juice that he has and the balance and the explosiveness he can provide, wouldn't mind to see Lane Kiffin get a little bit more creative, maybe some 2 running back sets, and really let those running backs take over games. I'm really excited for this offense. I think it can take that next step, and I think they can take it against the Vanderbilt team that struggles on defense. Appreciate you guys rocking with the boys. Again, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.